Hammies, I'm Jasmine Emerald, and today I'm bringing to you guys another Vampire Diaries video. I have a decent amount of videos up if you guys want to check out my whole playlist. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about today. Today we're going to talk about Bonnie Bennett and the multiple of shows they could give her within if they did the Vampire Diaries, got rid of Julie Plec, and potentially the other producers that were not really about Bonnie Bennett in general. You know what I'm saying? So let's jump into the stories that I feel like they could do for a Bonnie Bennett series if Kat Graham actually wanted to join and become the focal point of the show. So one of the main things that I really wanted TVD to do that they didn't really do, considering they did a spinoff of the originals and then they did a spinoff with Legacies with Hope, I really wanted them to do a show covering the Bennett witches in general. I feel like it's so much they could have did with that, where they could have talked about, the witch who helped the original witch Esther develop her skills. They could have talked about the Bennett witch who helped develop the Hell Bell that was in the town. Shoot, honestly, I would have liked to learn more about Emily and how she became so powerful, because Emily was that girl. Emily stayed making all these different crafts that I want to say it was John Gilbert said that he knew how to do, or he was the developer, creator of it for like hunting vampires and stuff like that. But Emily Bennett was the one, and she also locked all those vampires in a tune on her own. And I really wish we could have got some sort of a background story where they went into detail, like a whole mini series just about Emily Bennett alone, because I would have liked to watch that. So I'm not gonna lie, I do show a bit of favoritism towards Bianca Lawson. That's my girl, playing a teenager for years, decades, you know what I mean? Black don't crack. I don't know why I'm like this, but yeah, absolutely really wanted to see something done with the Bennett line, past, present, future. Maybe even do, like, if they could, a future time travel where somebody from the future comes back. I don't know, like, I wish they would have did something like that, because that would have kept me interested in so much they could have done, since the Bennett bloodline is such an important bloodline. They had their hands in some of everything. The Gemini Coven, there's Ketsia with the Travelers. It was just so much they could have done with the Bennett bloodline. So I honestly wish they would have dove a bit more into Bonnie's psychic ability. I know it played a big role in the last season. They started off the series talking about it like she had kind of premonitions a little bit, where she was in tune with the future. But they didn't really go into too much throughout the series. The only other psychic ability thing that they really focused on was when she was up against Cade. So I really wish they could have dove into that a bit more, and they still could, where they could go into her having some sort of premonition on like past, present, future, stuff like that, where you get to get more of a deep dive into her powers growing or her being able to control them. I really wish they would have dived into that, and I think that would have been something cool for them to do. Or even her meeting other witches who had more of a deeper psychic ability, and her understanding them and coming to terms with how they can affect people's lives. Like, that could have been something they did. So, of course, with most stories like this, another thing is obviously the bad witch. It's something about having somebody go completely Dark Willow in a series, and we didn't really get that with Bonnie. The closest we got was when she was kind of doing Silas's bidding, but it was kind of her under some sort of manipulation, mind control. It wasn't really her being the one in control. So it would have been interesting, considering everything that's been taken from her. I do appreciate that she didn't become evil in this series, because she could have with everything that was taken from her. However, I don't know. I really thought my girl was gonna crack and just swipe like smite everybody on the series, to be honest, especially with what happened to Enzo. So that could have been a route that they could have took with her, or even Bonnie becoming a traveler. That would have been interesting with her potentially giving up or being a witch because she didn't like the way it affected her life and the things that came with it, where so many people were dying around her, and if she became like a traveler or something, because that would have been really interesting, to be honest. But I don't know, would they had even let her become one, or do you have to be born into being a traveler? That's something else that they didn't really talk about either. So was it just me, or did anybody else secretly want Bonnie to have her own coven and develop her own coven of people that she chose to be in her, like, her space? Because, I've complained about this in other videos, but I really wanted Bonnie to develop friendships with other witches and black people, but I really wanted her to develop other relationships with people who were similar to her. And it seemed like everyone that was similar to her, whether it be black or witches, it seemed like they always ended up dying. And it would be very cool if they did a situation where she developed her own coven, or I even thought about the fact that she could have even became the new leader of the Gemini coven, where she did something like that, but they didn't go that route. But I feel like that would have been something that could have been interesting, just to see her come to terms with being a true leader, figuring out how to run things as a coven leader, stuff like that. I feel like that would have been a good story to tell. Also, really kind of, even though I was highly upset over what happened with her and Enzo, I really did want to see Bonnie actually become like a mom and even develop her skills and teaching her child how to become a witch like her. That would have been an interesting storyline to embark upon. Or if there was like some sort of prophecy that talked about, something that happened with the Bennett bloodline where the child was supposed to do certain things. I guess we have hope for a prophecy child, I guess. Even though, I'm not gonna lie, I did not dislike Hope, but I didn't really care for Hope that much. I don't know if I'm ever going to talk about a Legacies series or start like a Legacies deep dive opinion series like I did the Vampire Diaries, just because I'm not as connected to the show for so many reasons. I just wish they would have given Bonnie more to work with, if that makes sense, or more where she could have had a family, like had some sort of life for herself. And that would have been something to build upon, because everybody wanted her to be happy. Everybody wanted her to win and wanted her, to not just be alone as she was most of the time. And I'm not just saying like dating wise. I'm saying like to have an actual true family, some people that actually genuinely cared about her, and it wasn't just her putting herself at risk at all times. And that's what I wanted for her. And I don't ever think Kat Graham would actually come back and do a whole series on Bonnie Bennett just because of the way they treated her, rightly so. But, they could have did more with her. And so many people would have watched it. So many people would have watched the series. But let me know your thoughts. What type of Bonnie Bennett series would you guys like to see? What would you have liked them to focus on if they did create a series for her? Do you have any storylines you would like to see? Also, let me know your opinions on the ideas that I came up with, because these are things that I would have actually been very intrigued with and very interested in seeing my girl Bonnie like experience, as long as she made it through the show, because I would have been really mad if they killed her off again, because I was sick of it. I was very sick of it during the Vampire Diaries. I was upset and I didn't like it. But anyway, check out my other videos if you guys want to watch some more Vampire Diaries opinions or different topics where I just share my thoughts on things I didn't like, things I did like, things that didn't make sense. Just overall, my feelings about the show, even though it's been over for years. So, yeah, I'll be seeing you guys really soon with another video. And yeah, stay blessed, stay positive. Bye.